Good afternoon. This is the Weather Guru bringing you the latest 5 p.m. update on our Tropical Depression 14 in the Western Caribbean Sea at the moment. The changes have been subtle, but the hurricane hunters have found the system further south than anticipated in the earlier updates. So, because of which, the system will be interacting with a lot more land before it reaches the western Gulf of Mexico. But before we get to that, let's get some basics on it, of course. We have the Tropical Depression 14 here. Winds are still steady at 35 miles per hour. The pressure is still steady at 1,007 millibars. The movement has slowed down 3 miles per hour down to westward motion of 18 miles per hour or 16 knots. And so, if you remember the earlier advisory, the Hurricane Center had the position of the center of Tropical Depression 14 a little further north, almost parallel to Belize. Now, the Tropical Depression is fixated further south between the border of Honduras and Nicaragua. And so, because of which, the intensity forecast is complicated, but more so, the forecast not just for the intensity, but now this comes into to play the steering currents, the steering mechanism for Tropical Depression 14. Will it emerge from the Central American Peninsula the same when it makes landfall in the Central American Peninsula? As you can see, there's loose convective bands around the northeast, the northwest, southwest, and southeast quadrants here, with plenty of explosive thunderstorms. And we can look at it from another vantage point here. You can see. There's water vapor image here showing great, convective thunderstorms around the center of the storm. However, what is missing is a defined convective core around this group of thunderstorms here. And so because of which, it is still likely that this will become Tropical Storm Laura sometime tonight or tomorrow morning at the 8 a.m. advisory. However, if you look at the forecast track from the Hurricane Center, this system, let's say the wrong one here, sorry. This system is going to be, they continue to have it coming into Texas and Louisiana, but now they have it as a tropical storm all throughout the genesis, all throughout its lifespan. I do not think, according to this track right here, having to interact with land twice, that it's going to be a tropical storm coming out of the Central American Complex Peninsula. First landfall it has to make is between the border of Honduras and Nicaragua. And if you look on the Google Earth, there is some mountains here in Honduras, and there's some mountains here that it has to contend with in Nicaragua. So if it comes up like this through the mountains and then comes back out and reemerges over the over the Western Caribbean Sea, there is some deep warm water here to work with it. The water temperature is 87 degrees Fahrenheit out here. But if it spends time, the second part has to make 2 landfalls before it gets in the Gulf of Mexico. If it spends time on the Yucatan Peninsula right here, coming in at Playa del Carmen or any of these cities here, Tulum or any of these cities here, and it spends time on lingering, it slows down in forward speed, and it spends time lingering on that thing there, on that peninsula, the Yucatan Peninsula, then that's going to weaken it even further. And so this forecast is going to have to be adjusted, this cone, because we might be back at the depression stage once it gets done with the Yucatan Peninsula. So I have it coming in as a tropical storm, Laura, to Honduras and Nicaragua. When it reemerges in the Western Caribbean Sea, it will try to re-strengthen, but the organization, if it goes in with the organization that it has now, which is not very good, it will be a depression. It will weaken to a depression on its way to the Yucatan Peninsula. Once it reaches this Yucatan Peninsula, it will continue to be a depression until it reemerges in the Gulf of Mexico sometime Sunday afternoon or even Monday morning if it slows down in forced progress, because it is slowing down now. It's slowed down to 18 miles per hour from 22 miles per hour earlier at westward movement. So, when it makes that northwesterly turn in the Gulf of Mexico, right now, I have it even less than a tropical storm as a depression, but it will re-strengthen later on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and the week in this cone because there's warm water here, 88 degrees, less wind shear, and less of an environment that's not conducive to storm development. So it will be strengthened, and it may become a minimal hurricane, 75 mile per hour, somewhere around there, when it does eventually make landfall anywhere at this point, from Galveston to Houston, all the way over to the New Orleans coastline. Should be adequately monitoring this storm once it makes its turn northward. So that is the 5 p.m. advisory from the Hurricane Center. There is no change as far as the intensity. There is no change as far as the movement of the system right now, but it looks like it is going to make 2 landfalls before reaching the Gulf of Mexico, and that makes it challenging for the intensity because we don't know what kind of shape it is going to be in if it interacts with these mountains in Honduras. And that's going to be a big problem. Now, for Honduras and Nicaragua, this is going to cause a lot of flooding. They can have rain on the order of 6 to 8 inches by this maximum produced by this tropical depression. So mudslides, flash flooding is a great concern for those in Honduras and central Honduras here. Anywhere from central Honduras into northern Nicaragua need to pay attention because should be flood watches and warnings issued for San Pedro, Tocoa, La Ceiba, any of these places down here in central Honduras with these mountains. They're going to really experience Trujillo. Any of these places down here are going to experience tremendous rain, and that goes for the Yucatan as well. You can expect 6 to 8 inches maximum from this tropical depression or tropical storm as it comes through. And so that's the 5 p.m. update. We will continue to update you throughout the night, and if anything changes, we'll let you know. If you have any questions, leave them in comments, leave them in the description box, and I'll be sure to get back with you. Thank you very much.